I knew you'd do it. Okay, we're back in the open session, and we're back on item 8E, consideration action on an ordinance authorizing approval for the hotel tax funding for 2017-2018. And Doyle has already told us that he's provided information. Council's been given information from the group. Which group is it? What's the name of it? Tourism. The Tourism Board.
The Tourism Convention Advisory Board.
Thank you. They have provided, they've received information and they've evaluated it, and this is what they've recommended. And I will open it up for any comments or questions or suggestions at this point. Or I can take a motion to approve as submitted.
Mayor, I still have some concerns. I voiced a few last time, and I'll voice some this time also, just to try to get this thing equitable. And again, one of the rulers we're using again is heads and bids too, and several factors here. Number one thing I've got a concern about, I'm looking up here at Dallas Symphony, and they do multiple concerts. I know they service all of our kids in GISD, so as many as we can fit in the auditorium. It would take as many as we can take. That's multiple concerts again for citizens too. And they've only got $2,000. Greenville Entertainment Series, $2,000. You get the series that serves so many great concerts throughout. I look at creative arts, and I have nothing against creative arts, but I'm trying to be equitable here. And they've got $3,500 for a one-time concert. When I question the equity of the several of these things concert-wise. Now we're paying $3,500 for one night, and yet $2,000 for these multiple night situations. I have a question about the two bicycle events, and again, I am heavily appreciative of what these people do on the bicycles. And again, I did help with Bob Newty and other people start the first one. It was Cotton Patch Classic. It's morphed and changed into a fun ride. And I question the number of people that are actually coming in. They've got 50, which I don't question that. It's 50. I look at Dallas Racing. They've got 100 room nights, so 50 versus 100 room nights. And one of the things that we're looking at as a ruler is the number of heads to beds. And yet we've got $7,000 for each of these organizations, and one is renting twice the rooms at night for us. I come back to Ross Washington Carver Alumni Association, $5,000. I know that there's other events. Is this, and it's what I am looking at, is the purpose of that weekend. It's a reunion. I know we have other high school reunions. We had a Bowie reunion that, again, the people I was behind were from Massachusetts that had flown in for that. And there were quite a few nights on that. That's $5,000 for that one weekend there. So I'm just looking at the equity. These are all great organizations, great things they do for us. I worry about the equity between these that I just mentioned.
Are you preparing to give a recommendation, what you would like to see, or are you just making an observation?
No, I'll go ahead and make some changes if we'd like to do that.
Well, what we need is I'd like to see the recommendations, and we'll put it out and see, we can go through this and see if we can come up. I'd like to settle this tonight. We put it off. I think this is about the third meeting that we've had this and bounced it back and forth. So,
may I make a suggestion, Mayor? This may get a little too Robert's Rules of Order, but I think one of the ways to do this is kind of have a motion on the table to approve, and then we vote on amendments. So that if you say, I'd like to decrease this one by 3,000, increase that one by 3,000, we vote on that. And that way we're voting as we go, and then at the end we know what we're all voting on. That's just one way we could do it. Otherwise, we vote each one, and then when we get down to the end and slash somebody, well, I'd like to go back and put money up there, you know, and it's kind of, it's confusing.
I definitely agree with that. That is the best way to do this.
Did what I said make sense? So I make a motion to approve, but I understand there'll probably be amendments to that motion.
okay, Brent is, go ahead.
would just like to amend and say, I agree with Mr. Evans. I think another example is the Greenville Suzuki Strings Association. And I was privileged to attend one of their, it's not a seminar, I was reading here, I forget what it was called. But it was a workshop, and they had flown musicians from all over the country, and the Suzuki Strings serves hundreds of children here in our community. So this may not be likable, but I think each one of these entities should get the same amount. I would recommend each one gets $5,000, and any money left over, we would use for other projects within our city.
Are you suggesting the Dallas Symphony, Greenville Entertainment Series,
Each one would get $5,000.
along with which each one is?
Yeah.
Each American Cotton Museum, $5,000. DSO 5, GES
Can
5,000.
you slow down? I can't track it. Which one did you want?
All of them, $5,000.
Everybody?
Everybody gets $5,000. And then that's, what would that be?
The balance goes to fund balance?
Yes.
That'd
Yes.
be 55,000.
55,000. We end up with $25,000 that our city manager, I'm sure has many, not that these aren't necessities, but to me that seems to be the only equitable way because they're all fine organizations. They
I'll
all
second that
agree.
motion,
Okay, as part of
or
this.
second that amendment.
Well, maybe it's a motion, but I never got a second. That's a good motion. No, that's okay. That's okay.
That's it by Robert. Yeah, she spoke up. I'm in discussion before we take a vote on that. Holly has made a suggestion of 5K for each of the organizations, but I'm a little bit like James pointed out that the Carver Alumni Association, for them to get 5K, and we don't do anything for the high school, we don't do anything there. I have a problem granting 5K to that organization. That's the thing that we, James.
That scoop in is too long, I gotta raise my hand before I can talk. I'm gonna get in trouble.
I've had people give me a finger before.
Raise my hand like that. I want to say one thing, I appreciate, Holly, what you said. Also, I missed, because I was looking at several numbers up here, but definitely Suzuki Strings and the Threadgill concert, again, they serve multiple concerts for us and multiple concerts. Many people come to see those. A lot of good there. I want to point out one thing too, and when I'm looking at this financial statement, I'm looking at everything, from $401. Can I mention that or not, Daniel? Can I mention money, Kyle?
Yes.
You can,
I
but
can.
it's probably not a good thing to necessarily talk about, but it is open.
I won't mention one of them because I don't think anybody would be offended by it. I'm looking at one, I've got numbers going up to 6 figures on financials in the bank, and I'm looking at Dallas Racing, and again, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think very much I get this a lot of good, I've attended every one of those. They've only got $401 in the bank. I don't see how they're gonna be able to operate with $401 in the bank, and then put on this, it's already massive cut to 7,000. I just don't see how they could even operate at 5,000.
And I feel the same way about, and I'm not looking at the financials, but, looking at the Cotton Museum, which I think is one of the treasures of our area, and they run on a shoestring budget as it is, and really provide a service. A lot of people stop in Greenville on the highway to see that and put Greenville on the map a little bit. I also look at, one of the things I think is that the Rally Around Greenville, that really I feel like has struggled in the past few years as the city has pulled funding, where that should be an event that goes on all weekend that really captures this area and gets some of those cyclists that are coming here to race to stick around and just create a positive buzz for our community. And I'd like to see that go up rather than down, so that there's kind of.
Make a number, I do have a motion in a second.
I don't know, we're discussing it. I'm against, I feel like, I guess, we have 5 people on this committee that sat through a lot of hearings and listened to a lot of stuff and consider, and the reason that committee exists, for the most part, is to take the heat off us from having to make these hard decisions. We send it to an advisory committee, and They spend a lot of time reviewing documents, listening to presentations, deliberating this. And we got good people on there, Terry Thomas, John Kelso, Shannon Full, Demetrius Nixon. I don't know Miss Sunday, but I'm sure she's great as well. And they put a lot of thought into this. I'm not saying that they're infallible, but I'd hate to just say, well, thanks for all your hard work, but we're just gonna split it even. I think that they put thought into this, and I'd like to pretty much follow their recommendation. So I'm against just the even split.
Is there any other comments before I ask for a vote?
Got one more comment. Again, the Criterion bike race, it is all race. There's no fun ride to it. That's where the people come in, and they spend the money. They're in the places on Lee Street. They eat. They stay in the hotels. They're coming from way out of town, many of them. We've got a few locals, but a lot of people from out of town. The Cotton Patch Classic, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not trying to hurt the ride, but I'm just saying, if we're looking at funding here, we're getting very serious. There used to be the race. I don't think, is there a race, Troy? Are you here right now? Troy, does the Cotton Patch Classic, is there a bicycle race or is it just a fun ride?
No, there is not a race. It is a 700-person strong bike ride. And I respect James. I've seen the Criterion, and I don't see nearly that many people there.
Again, they've got the hotel counts. That's what I'm looking at is the heads to beds right here, the people that put the rooms. The other one, basically, to my knowledge, and I've been there watching it too, it's evolved, I say evolved, from the race structure into a fun ride, and it's local participation. You don't get the people that I'm aware of coming from out of town to come in to do the fun ride. It's local people doing that. And again, if we're basing this on heads to beds, that's my concern that Dallas Racing, needs to be, I don't see how they can operate less than this, and they need a few thousand.
The number of people for the Cotton Patch Challenge that are from this community is about 30% of that 700.
Do you have documents to prove that?
Not with me, no.
Could you produce them?
Yeah, I think I can.
Based on what?
I'm sorry,
Based on what?
our registration numbers, where people register from.
Everyone that's written. You've got 700, you say approximately 700 registrations.
Yes.
I'd like to get back to the motion. Right now, I have a motion by Holly and seconded, I think, Jerry, at $5,000 each across the board. If you vote yes, you approve at 5,000 apiece. If you vote no, we'll go back to more discussion. Okay. That's 3-3, and therefore it's a no. So we're back to discussion about how we want to allocate this.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we do, in response to your comment about the Alumni Association, I suggest that we delete that contribution and make an across-the-board contribution of $5,000 for everyone else. Make that motion.
Okay, so it's 5K minus the Carver alumni. Okay, that motion was made by Jerry.
Gee, hit me, what are we doing with the 5,000? Explain that one more time.
It's going in fund balance.
The remaining money would go in, back into the
Fund balance. So it's $50,000 now.
do I have a second for the motion?
Second.
Okay, if you vote yes, you are approving $5,000 for each participant with the exception of the Carver Alumni Association, which would be zero. The remainder of the 75 would go back into the funding.
Speak on the, Doyle did, it seems like the numbers showed that they had 100 hotel nights or something like that. It seems awfully high.
That is what I showed in 2016, 2017.
And are those, is that one of the ones that you actually reviewed?
Yeah, I should have brought some other things with me tonight. But I would have it across the hall on the date I would have made a phone call.
While you're looking for that, I'm not as bothered that they are getting the money and other reunions aren't, because as far as I know, the other reunions haven't asked for it, but if they had the heads and beds to support it and they're really putting into it, then that doesn't bother me.
The last time that the RWC was funded, it was $1,600. They did not receive, I don't believe they received any funding this last fiscal year. So I probably would not have made that phone call.
So going up to
It says approximately 100.
1,600 to 0 to 5,000 is a big jump.
It is a good jump, yes, sir.
I think that's an every other year meeting.
Yes, they asked for an additional amount because they wanted to extend the period of time and turn it into a July weekend so that people could play golf. And I'm sorry, I don't see the city spending money for people to come in here and play golf.
I'm almost positive that they were not funded last year, and so I would not have that information on when I called motels.
Maybe they didn't meet last year.
I think they only meet every other year.
Excluded.
Yes. And Reverend Dukes, I believe, is in the hallway. Could back me up on that.
Mr. Kelson was here, maybe, I don't want to put you on the
I
spot.
thought I remembered that being an estimate, frankly, the 100, I thought was an estimate, but you could ask me that.
Mr. Kelso is correct. On the application itself, it says, let me go to my page. The application showed how many motel rooms expected to generate from your event. Approximately 100. If you held a similar event last year, how many verified room nights were generated? Approximately 120. That is probably not verified on our part.
Any other discussion?
So just so I understand Jerry's motion, are you only making a motion that we remove that 5, or is this a motion to approve except for that 5?
The
Approved
motion is
5,000
on the
across the
record.
board with the exception of the alumni association.
I want to withdraw my second because I think the Carver Association should receive 1,600 and everybody else should get 5,000. I'm sorry, can I do that?
You can withdraw that.
You can withdraw your second,
I did.
but the motion
But
is
I want to
still out
say,
there.
give them
Okay, and
$1,600.
I'll amend my motion to say $1,600.
And,
Second.
and everybody else gets 5,000?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm still against that for the reason I said. I won't say it all.
All right, so if I can get this correct, we have a motion by Jerry, second by Holly, that everybody gets $5,000 with the exception of Carver, and they will get 1,600. The remaining money would go back into the coffers. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I
Back
think,
into fund balance.
So if you vote yes, you approve that. If you vote no, we'll go on to more discussion. Please vote. All right, we're at 4-2, so it moves that way.
so we now still have 15 or 20,000 of unallocated money in that account.
That would be
25,000.
25,
Well, no,
almost 20, yeah.
yeah, almost 25.
Okay.
23.6.
And so,
23.4.
so are we okay with these organizations coming back and explaining to council why they want more? Are we leaving it in there for next year? Or?
It would be next year. Any other comments?
And the only other thing I'd like to add is next year, I'd like to see the number of years that the city has been contributing to these organizations and the total amount contributed a lifetime. Please. And that shouldn't be this, we shouldn't have to ask them for that number. We should have that ourselves.
Yeah, I hope finance can go back quite a few years. I have statistics through 2002, I think, but I don't know about lifetime. Okay. I have those organizations as well as others for about 15 years.
I would guess
At a
some of
lifetime,
these organizations we've given over $500,000 to over the years.
Possibly, sir.
Anything else on it, Jerry? Moving on to item 9A, consideration and action, resolution appointing and reappointing members to serve on the different groups. James, did you want to discuss,
Be glad.
identify?
The city council appointments and board subcommittee met, and it was comprised of Mayor Driley, Councilman Gosher, myself. And we interviewed some great people, and we're gonna assign several to appointments, and we've encouraged the ones that we didn't have a place for to again stay with us and reapply in the future. And hopefully they will, before long, become a part of our city too.
And a lot of reappointments.
A lot of reappointments I'm fixing to have right here too. The Animal Shelter Advisory Board, we're gonna reappoint Dr. Jonathan Rocky to place 6. We're gonna reappoint Casey McCarthy to place 7. Construction Board of Adjustment and Appeals, we'll reappoint Bobby Stovall to place 1. Reappoint Chuck Francie to place 2. Reappoint Eddie Bruner to place 3. Greenville Housing Authority, we're gonna reappoint Bernice Reeves Brown to place 1. Reappoint Linda Garcia to place 3. Reappoint Demetrius Nixon to place 5. Library Advisory Board, we will reappoint Shirley Harrison to place 2. Reappoint Pamela Edwards to place 4. Main Street Advisory Board, reappoint John Brown to place 6. Appoint Ben Butler to place 7. Parks and Recreation Advisory Board will reappoint Sherry Ryan to place 4. Reappoint Lori Rocky to place 5. Reappoint Brady Rosenbaum to place 6. Reappoint Wes Hablutzel to place 7. Planning and Zoning Commission, reappoint Dwayne May to place 1. Appoint Charles W. Haney Jr. to place 2. Reappoint Denisha Denny to place 3. Appoint Chester Henry to place 6. Substandard Structures and Rehabilitation Board, reappoint Chuck Francie to place 3. Reappoint Deborah Hoskins to place 4. Reappoint Barry Gluck, alternate number 2. We will, for TERS, reappoint Sue Ann Hardy to place 1. Reappoint Dr. Jack Amos to place 3. Reappoint Douglas Hackett to place 7. Tourism and Convention Advisory Board, reappoint Terry Thomas to place 1. Reappoint John Kelso to place 2. Reappoint Shannon Falk to place 3. Zoning Board of Adjustment, we will appoint John Martin to place 5. Reappoint William Lovell to alternate 3 position, and reappoint Jim Holly, alternate number 4.
Any comments or questions on that?
No, I certainly appreciate the work that Benny did. I know that was exhausting effort, and I think we should, I'll make a motion, we accept your appointments.
Okay. Jerry moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Yes, thank you.
Please vote. Now passes 6-0. I would like to also compliment Carol's work on there, because putting this spreadsheet together and getting all the different things and being able to help us out, understand who's eligible for reappointment and who is termed out is greatly appreciated. All right. It's getting dark. Next, we have the financials.
Thank you, Mayor. These will be your financials. Can you go ahead and turn it to the slide? Okay. The slideshow.
Started. I'm sorry, what did you ask?
You're good. Okay, these will be for the end of October. We're 8% through the year, so just 1 month. General fund revenues are at 1 million, or 4% of expected collections. Expenditures are at 2.4 million, or 10% of budgeted expectations. Year-to-date sales tax through October are up 59,386 or 9.5% compared to the same time through fiscal year 2017. And down at the bottom, you'll see our sales tax target for compared to our actual sales tax, and then our remaining sales tax are $7 million to collect to meet our 7% increase.
What was our budgeted expectation on sales tax?
That's right off the top of my head. I can't remember off the top of my head. What it says.
6%? 6.5, so we're 3% over our expectation, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, for 1 month. I mean, we're just talking about
Right,
1 month
I
here,
know.
so it's hard to gauge
And
expectations.
every month isn't created equal. Yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
You've got a target there of 7.7. Near the bottom.
7%? Oh, you're 7.7 million. Yes, correct.
Is that what we have budgeted as what we expected?
Yes, yes.
So not the 6 point whatever.
But we're 9.5% over where we were this time last fiscal year.
Correct.
So
Yes.
that's still ahead of budgeted expectations.
Yes,
All right,
yes.
apples to apples. Okay.
Yes, we are ahead of budgeted expectations. Any other questions?
Well, last October, we collected 9.5% less than this year.
Year to date.
Year to,
What's your
fiscal year to date, which is
What we've
Right,
got in our
correct.
budget right now is based upon the 7.7 million. That's the sales tax target.
Right.
Is that correct?
The sales tax target is correct. Yes,
So
7.7.
What we have in the budget right now is 7.7, or what we based our budget on.
Right.
And what she's been paid, or what we've been paid so far, is the 623,000.
Right.
So to finish out the end of our budget year, we need to still collect a little over 7 million.
Right, but we're ahead of where we were last October at the same time by 9.5%.
Yeah, y'all are kind of talking two different
Yeah.
deals, but you're both correct. You're both correct.
Making it more complicated. The first month, what we received, what most of you saw, there was a drop of 6% for 1 month in the newspaper. That,
Just for November.
For November.
For November.
Oh, November, which is, we haven't collected yet, but we're there.
Well, no, we've collected. I just haven't reported it to you because we've only had one meeting
So next
somewhat.
month, when she gives us this, we're down 6% over last year.
for one
Gotcha.
for
Gotcha.
1 month only, not year to date, just for the 1 month.
For 1 month.
So
Okay.
you're talking one thing and he's talking another,
Okay,
but you're
gotcha.
both correct.
We do that often.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But we're doing okay.
Just bring us the good news.
Okay, I can do
Bring
that.
us 7 million next time.
Okay, current period collections of 872 were remitted for October of 17, which was an increase of 4.5% compared to October of 16. These were taxes that were collected in August, reported in September to the state, and then of course received by us in October. And I would remind you too, what you see in the paper is total collections. I report to you current period collections, so that current period collections are what we actually collected. What they may report in the paper, which may be a little bit different, includes audit collections, prior period collections, any kind of thing that the state might need to take out of that current period collections compared to our total collections. So sometimes that can seem a little different. So just so you're aware.
Thank you.
This is just city-only portion. You'll see the city's portion right there in the middle, which we're still ahead of last October, so we're still in good shape. And then just compared to other comparison cities. And then this will be just the month of October, and you'll see the trend on the upward trend, so that's a good sign as well. And then water and sewer revenues through October are 1.2 million, or 9% of budgeted expectations. So we're doing where we should be on water and sewer. Hotel motel tax through October were decreased 6,286, or 11% from the prior year. And just keep in mind that's just one month, so we are down a little bit from the prior October. And I'll take any other questions if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next area is council items for the proposed agenda. And please keep in mind that what I'm looking for is things that You know, if it's something that could be as simple as a question to Masood or something, I'd rather you just go ahead and contact him, but if there's something that's urgent that we probably need to have on the agenda, I'm willing to mark it down. We'll guarantee we'll hear it, but is there anything that anybody wants to do there?
I think Mr. Money's suggestion about developing the overall comprehensive plan in regard to the moratorium, the development, the stakeholders, and I'm not saying it nearly as artfully as you did, was brilliant, and we should move in that direction or investigate it.
I would see on the next agenda, not as a, we don't need a special meeting, but on the next agenda, proposals from those three people that you provided to what they would meet with us to do, and I don't know how we have to go about hiring somebody like that, or if you need a committee of the council to meet and come up with an RFP or whatever, but.
Okay, can I speak to that, maybe? Okay, this is how the process is gonna work. We receive a statement of qualification. And what we need to do, and we talked about that before, we need to shortlist one or two or three, and ultimately select one, and then get a scope of the project and get a proposal on that, and so we bring it to you. Now, we can do that, the staff can do that, but I think it's better the city council create a committee, and the staff can be resources and help you on that. But we already got qualification statement. We shortlisted, I believe, 3 of them for you. And again, we need to have a project scope. How, you know, this can be $50,000, $500,000, $10 million fee. All depends to what you want to do, the consultant do for you, and then we put it, negotiate a fee for that project scope, and then we bring it to you, put it on the agenda. Once you approve it, since it's not budgeted, we have to amend our budget, take money from fund balance to do that, and then get it going. So that's the process.
Did we allocate money this past year? I know we talked about putting $100,000 in the budget for, I know we talked about it, did we not?
But if the council decides to make a decision to go for it, we can amend the budget at the same time and take money from fund balance to do that, if that's the pleasure of the council.
Anything else?
So we
where
need
do
a
you want to
committee, we talked about at one point, Dr. Ransom and Ms. Gocher and I working on
Okay.
that committee, but, I mean,
I'm totally busy. I'm willing to serve, but if someone else wants to serve, I will.
yeah, I certainly would like to serve, and I think, definitely we need the whole council's input, but I'd like to meet pretty quickly and get that person or group selected.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah, I read an article in the Wall Street Journal where there are police departments now that are conducting seminars for these shooting situations that happen in churches and public places. And I'm aware of several churches now that are developing their own defense plans with people that are maybe I don't know how qualified they are to be doing that, but I wondered if we could investigate some possibility of, I think it was called Run, Hide, Shoot, I believe was the title of the article. It's very interesting. And I wondered if we could check out the possibility of some seminars for our citizens that would be interested in doing that.
Is that something we want to bring up as far as an item before the council for an agenda item, or is that just something you'd like to propose? I mean, what I'm trying to get here is things that we need on the agenda.
Okay. Well,
I'm asking what you want to do on that.
if there's I don't know what I want to do on that, but I think our citizens need some help with that. So I gave a
presentation to Altrusa 2 weeks ago, and I told them that 24 years ago when I started as a police chief, I got calls all the time about women's self-defense classes. And now the calls I get are active shooter requests. We have people on staff that have been trained in how to teach people in active shooter situations. I think we gave 2 seminars this week for private businesses here in town. And I have had people approach me that are representatives of churches that want the same things so they can protect themselves. So we're already working on that, and we're already doing that. And if you've got somebody in particular that wants that, have them contact me and we'll get it taken care of.
I'd like to see, I wish we could get an article in the paper, an advertisement, but making people aware.
We can do that, and we'll do it on Facebook too.
Okay.
Okay.
I can delete that and do it better. Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess that was out of order.
Anything else? Okay, this time, we are going, it is 8:10, and we're going to go out of open session and go to executive session.